Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm back again. I told y'all I was gonna be back, and I'm back with my boy Shayne, aka Not a Tout, repping Duke today.
Yes,
I
sir.
love it, man. Boy,
Always represented.
I got my Jordan T on, man, because it's that time, it's that winning time.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all know if you see me and Shane, y'all know what we about to talk about. We about to get y'all some money. You know what I'm saying? So this right here, we gonna call this an NBA Finals prop show. Y'all might remember in the past we done Super Bowl prop shows, so and always give y'all props on good if it goes better. Which we're now rebranding. We gonna call it Quality Bets. So that's what we're going right now. So this is Quality Bets. So this is also the first episode of Quality Bets under the new brand, and we'll be getting that to y'all shortly. So y'all had us, just in time for game one, so you can get some of these props in. So without further ado, Shane, what's going on, man? Just tell me real quick. Have you bet any NBA during the playoffs? If so, how have you done? What did you think about just give me, just a rundown of what you thought about the playoffs so far? Anything surprising? Anything disappointing? Anything like that?
So let's keep it real here because like you see in my name, I'm not a tout, which means I'm not going to lie to you about my results and how things have been going. I have not done very well in this playoffs. I had I'm not going to say a significant amount, but I had a good amount for me at least on Phoenix to win the West. So just to be honest, to see that the way that went down in flames, because look, obviously this is a moot point, but I think Phoenix would have beaten Golden State. I really do. I think they matched up. I think they were the perfect matchup to beat Golden State, but they all time gag in Game 7. That was one of those like betting losses where you're like you can't even be mad, right? You're just sitting there laughing like, is this real life? Like Dallas went in there and just completely embarrassed them. But I did. It started off very well. I had a lot on Boston series over. I remember I put that in the chat. I had a lot on Boston series over the Nets um, in the East. But other than that, as far as series bets, that is no. That I did have Utah over Dallas in the first round too. Um,
Remember that because
I
we
remember because I got the best price in the entire universe on it because I was able to bet it at Bet Rivers before the Luka Doncic injury news came, and we laughed about it because I had all that CLV, all that closing line value, and boom, just embarrassed. So yeah, it really hasn't been very well for me, but it's okay. How about you?
really, the most disappointing thing is my Nets futures for the second year in a row. So that's 3 seasons back to back. I've done investing in futures, or Chiefs and then Nets, then Chiefs, then Nets. So learning some lessons about that because I'm really new to futures betting. I never really wanted to, we talked about it on here, just wait, for a bet to hit. And, just putting a couple 20, 30 bucks up, every week and invest in that has been kind of fun to watch. But it wasn't fun again this year. So Brooklyn's very disappointing. And if they were going to lose to any team, it was going to be Boston. Boston showed up defensively in that series. Like, maybe I don't watch a lot of Celtics games. I don't know because I didn't know they were that good of a defensive team. Because Jason Tatum was locking KD ass down. And it was embarrassing. So that was burnt money there. I did do well also in the Celtics series, mostly betting Bam Adebayo unders. And then when I did bet his over, I think that might have been game 4 where he had the really good game, or maybe game 5. He had the really, really good game, came out on fire. I had him over 3.5 points first quarter, and then I had a same game parlay with a couple other things like Jaylen Brown needed a steal. He was the only Celtic with a steal for like the first like 3.5 quarters or something like that. So like I had really good success in that series.
Yeah, you're my NBA. You're my NBA prop guy. In the chat,
Yeah,
you're always dropping those prop, and it's
I
just not
appreciate
really
it.
something I've ever. It's not a market I've really ever had too much interest in. I've been props more. I'll get down on props in football.
Yeah,
and fighting and UFC props for
yeah,
rounds and stuff like that. That's where I've been. But yeah, no, the NBA props have become since like the legalization has expanded in the United States. I mean, that market is blowing up. Like that's what a lot of, that's what a lot of, smaller time bettors, guys that are betting, 20, 30 a game and stuff, because it's fun because it gives you more interest in the game, right? You can follow a certain player, like you said, Bam Adebayo, 8 rebounds, Jason Tatum, points plus rebounds, 35 or whatever, whatever the number is. It is fun.
yeah, yeah. That's definitely something with the legalization, like you said, just more open and they advertising it all over. You can't turn on any sport now without either seeing commercials or actual professional former athletes and stuff, having their own bets. Like we always see Barkley and his same game parlays and that
Yeah,
kind
well, I
of
mean,
stuff.
even Nicki Minaj is shilling for some shitty ass betting site now. I mean, it's
Maxim,
insane.
Maxim, how about that? Let's get into that. Maxim Bet and everybody else who coming up with these books, these random books. We'll talk about that
Hey,
when
if
we
you
get
can't beat, hey, if you can't beat them, join them. Me and Mike, we're looking for affiliate deals. All right, well, I'm ready to shill for any of these shitty books. Bring it. Let's go.
right. Well, let's show them how good we are here. Without further ado, we'll start with some props. You want to start with MVP or you want to end with MVP?
I'll kick it off with the MVP. So yesterday, or was it either yesterday or 2 days ago, I went on my Bet Rivers app and I just started looking at some of these MVP prices, and I saw Al Horford at 125 to 1, and I
Mm,
just looked at that like, what? So I'm just like, that seems crazy to me. That is way high. So I dropped that in the chat to you guys. Remember, right? And
yeah,
about 10 minutes later, I went on because I was actually going to bet it. And it dropped to 100. You know what? That's fine. Yeah, I talked a lot about, trying to get the best number, not, not chasing a bad number, that kind of thing. Right. But I mean, whatever. This is a small market. It's a small bet. Anytime you're betting something 101 or more, you're certainly not expecting it to win. It's just I'm betting it because I don't think it should be this high, right? Like I
right,
talked about this in the Super Bowl when I bet like Jalen Ramsey like 70 to 1 or something to win MVP. I don't think he's actually going to win. I'm not expecting this to win. When you're looking at value, that's how you want to break it down.
right,
So I went and bet it at 100 to 1. And again, not a tout. I can screenshot the play. If you go on Bet Rivers right now, he's down to 50 to 1. Like
mm,
that was just a terrible opener. I mean, Al Horford is a big reason that Boston's even in the finals. Like he has, I mean, talk about a career resurgence. Like he left Boston, he went to Philadelphia. That was a disaster. That made no sense for him to play in that style. And back in Boston, and he's been, their second, arguably their second best player of the playoffs. I mean, he's just come up big, and I just think, you know, I'm going to get to my official pick in a little bit of the series and what I'm betting who to win. But if that gives it away a little bit, I just think that number is crazy. Like 50 to 1 is that's probably a fair number. I wouldn't recommend probably betting at 50 to 1, but like if you can shop around, go on some of these, go on your apps, and if you can see Horford like I'll say like 70 to 1 or better, to me that's worth some lunch money, man. I put $20 on it.
yeah,
I put $20 on it. That's 2 grand right there. I mean, why not? Like I've done a whole lot dumber shit in my life with $20 than throwing on Horford to
yeah,
win to win MVP. You know what I'm saying? So that jumped out at me immediately, and that's that's like my favorite bet. Like I want to hear what you got for MVP because we'll get to our official picks for the series, but let's hear what you like in the MVP market because I know you mentioned that that's something you did.
yeah. Well, I know, man. This is probably after the first round. I threw in the chat. I had saw Jordan Poole, Finals MVP, plus 3,500 on FanDuel Sportsbook. So I just put it in there like, hey y'all, look at this. And this is after Gary Payton, the second had got hurt, and Poole had been playing as consistently as he had pretty much through the whole season in their first round series. And so second round comes, more of the same, still no GP2. They had a series against the Grizzlies. Poole played pretty well, but Steph has played well. And then we get to the Dallas series now. Here comes Clay. Clay's coming alive, and so now we have many different things going on. And Jordan Poole is still there playing well. And so after Boston won, right away I looked and it was I'm sorry, Jordan Poole was plus 3,000. So lost a little bit. Now I'm looking and he's at plus 4,600 on FanDuel.
You're on mute. You're on mute still.
So Jordan Poole right now is at plus 4,600. I like it. And I like it because if the game flow goes in favor of the Warriors, Poole is that dynamic to where he can run off 3 or 4 games, I think, at 20 plus scoring. And I don't know if that means Steph is having a bad game, because to me, I think this is Steph's best chance to win a Finals MVP finally. Because of course, no KD, and in the first year it was like, well, you beat LeBron and Iguodala guarded LeBron, and even though LeBron damn near averaged a triple double, and if they take that game, if they take that to 7 games, and even if they lose, LeBron still probably wins MVP. So it's one of those, and that's 7 years worth of speculation that we've been talking about.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and that's I'm glad you brought that up, because here is my only issue with betting a non-Steph Curry Warrior. I find it hard to believe, very hard to believe, that, and we know how the NBA media is, right? Like, I find it hard to believe that if Golden State wins this series, which I don't think they're going to, by the way, we're going to get to that. But if Golden State does win this series, how do you not give Steph that MVP, right? Because it's been debated that he's deserved it in some of the previous wins, right? And especially if you go back into, I find the Andre Iguodala MVP in 2015 absolutely hilarious. Oh my God, you held LeBron to 35, 8, and 7. So I don't even remember what LeBron's stat line was absurd for the whole series, right? I thought Steph probably should have got it. So I'm just trying to think, will they give it to somebody else again? Man, Jordan Poole, I would almost be, and I'm not hating on your player or anything. It's a long shot. It's again, you're not expecting it to win, right? So I would probably be looking at Jordan Poole. If I'm you and you really like Jordan Poole, I'd be looking at his props more to kind of hedge that as well, because Jordan Poole could go off and still not get MVP, and nobody was surprised. Steph, how does Golden State win this series without Steph being Steph? You know what I'm saying? And in that case,
how many games of Steph? How many? Steph only has to be Steph for 4 games to win.
Yeah, and I don't think they can win unless Steph is Steph. I don't think it can't be you were able to get by Dallas. You were able to get by who they beat in the first round. I'm drawing a blank.
The Nuggets, Denver.
Yeah, right. Who had you didn't really need Steph to be that good in either one of those series. This is different now. You're entering a new and let me be very clear. I absolutely despise everything about Boston sports. I hate their fans. I hate the city. I hate everything about. I hate Boston sports. But we got to be objective here, right? We got to hide biases, especially when betting. We've talked about this 100 times. If I think Green Bay, they're my favorite sports team in the whole world. If I think the opposite side is the right play, I will bet it. This is, man, I don't know. I couldn't put any money on a non-Steph Warrior to win MVP. That's just me. I just don't see somebody else. I mean, maybe Draymond, maybe. If he comes in there locking, somehow locks Tatum down, just shuts him down, even though he's not going to be, Draymond's not going to just be on Tatum. That's not going to work.
A triple double. And
yeah, I mean, you're gonna need that Draymond, right?
Yeah.
But
And they might need that just to win the series too. And right now they got him at plus 2,200 for Finals MVP.
I don't. That's not to me. That's just not a good bet. Like I would
Yeah.
want high. Like
I
Poole.
want more.
You're making sense what you're saying with Poole because we know
Poole
Jordan.
average. So Poole averaged 21 a game against Denver. To me, Denver is the best team that they played. The Grizzlies were good, but Grizzlies didn't have a guy, for a couple
Right.
of those games too.
Right.
Whereas the Nuggets, they haven't had their guys all year. So that's who you're gonna have. And Poole averaged 21. I think if he could play like that, and he only playing like 30 minutes a game. So if he has to get out there for 36, 37, and Boston, them guys, they playing the whole game. Smart is gonna be busy with Steph or Clay. Poole gets to just kind of float. Who's really gonna be guarding him?
I agree. I don't disagree with anything you said. I'm
Yeah.
just saying
It's a
if
long
I'm
shot
you,
though. At the end of the day, it's
if
definitely a
I'm you,
long
I'm
shot.
looking at Poole props, looking
Yeah.
at Poole's, like his 3-point totals, like his alt totals. You know what I mean? Like where you can get good plus money. I'd be looking at that kind of stuff as well. Man, I'm on Boston. Let's just get right into it. I'm on Boston plus 140 for the series. If you look at, and I know it's not like this simple to break it down like this, but let's look at the roads both teams have taken to get here through the playoffs. Starting with Golden State, they beat a Denver team that has one guy, basically like one guy. His second best player was, and Jokic is great, and like you saw with a guy like even Draymond was able to do against him, which just shows how good he is. His second best player was Monte Morris. You know what I'm saying? And then they beat Memphis, who they ran into some injury trouble. Like there was. I'm not saying Memphis wins that series if Ja doesn't get hurt, but who knows, right? Like they were right there with them. He missed a layup at the first game. Like Memphis could have won that series. They didn't. So I mean, moot point. And then they just beat a Dallas team, which I think kind of overachieved to get there.
They did.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this to like take anything away from Golden State or anything like that. I'm just kind of looking at, the narrative you've heard this week, right? Is this, and I've seen this on these stupid ass shows 100 times. Golden State's big time experience versus Boston's none. You know what? Shove that shit, okay? I've watched this Boston team sweep Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Right? They were an underdog in that series. They swept them. No, excuse me. They closed a small fave. They opened an underdog. They closed a small fave in that series. They swept them. It's how hard it is. I don't care who you are, sweeping those guys. And then they played the defending champs. Now, granted, they didn't have Middleton, fine, but they were down 3-2. And they went to Milwaukee and won a game 6 and then blew them out game 7. I thought, like everybody else, once Boston gagged that game 5 away, when it was 3-2, it's a wrap. Like I figured it was going to go back to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee was going to shut them out. Man, they went there and they balled. Tatum showed me Jason Tatum is a fucking superstar. Jason Tatum, good. I like that link right there. That's perfect. Jason Tatum is a superstar, man. And like he showed it in that Milwaukee series was so impressive. And again, no Middleton, fine, but they still had the best player in the world, right? Everybody's consensus best player in the world is Giannis. And they beat him game 6, and they ran him out the gym in game 7. That team won the NBA championship last year. And then even this last series, right? And I know this, I was on this, Miami was an overrated team. It was kind of a mirage for them to get there. They had a lot of injury luck go their way, right? Well, Boston still had to go on the road in a game 7. All the pressure in the world on them after they were a 9-point favorite in game 6. Boston blows that game, right? And I'm like, what? I could not believe Boston lost the game.
Yeah.
Well, they go on the road game 7, all the pressure in the world. And they win. Like this is a battle-tested team. They're very well coached. Give Udoka his flowers, man. Like that's a rookie head coach that just came in and he's got his team in the NBA championship. Like that man deserves a lot of respect.
Yeah. Who knows? Who would have known, man? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they thinking Brad Stevens was gonna be the guy to just get it done. And he just Eastern Conference Finals. Eastern Conference Finals. Come up short. A surgence of other teams in the East, just not Boston.
Yeah,
So
and like I
doing an
said, man,
amazing
like
job at
right,
that.
and I'm just like, look at what they've done. I mean, it was an extremely impressive run through the Eastern Conference. It really was, and I just think, defensively, because if you're going to beat Golden State, you have to be elite defensively. You just have to, or else they can run you out the gym doing
Yeah,
what they do. Right? We know. I know what I'm getting from Golden State. So do you. You know what I'm saying? But I think, man, this Boston team is as good of a defense, and man, it's hard to play defense in today's NBA too. It's like the NFL. It's hard to play defense, man. Like these, and the guys, the way the spacing is, the way 4 or 5 guys on the floor to get any given time can hit wide open, hit threes. It's just a different game. So like when you see a team that can defend like Boston, I think they can get Golden State. I really do.
yeah,
And this number, I thought this number was going to open even higher, but it's like plus 135 like everywhere right now. If Boston was home court, they'd be favored. I'm a believer. I want to hear what you got to say about it because I just went off and that's basically my reasoning. I didn't drop the hammer or something. This isn't a large bet. It's not even more than I had the Suns to win the West, but it's I feel pretty good about it.
So, oh, I'm really watching the series overall as a fan. I can't call it. I say the line pretty sharp, both ways.
Okay,
Um, for the series, because like you said, I've been seeing the same thing. Boston plus 135 currently,
it's
and
about
then
about standard.
Golden State minus 160 around that number, and that's kind of what I've been seeing since Boston won the Eastern Conference Finals. So I don't disagree at all, but I'm not on either side as far as what I'm gonna take. Um, really, like game one, I would love to throw a couple bucks on Boston plus 142 to get a steal.
Yeah, I think it's like Golden State's minus 3.5. Boston, the comeback's like I think you're right about plus 140 ish, right?
I think Boston like plus four now. So and then the over 212 and a half. I like the over 212 and a half. So I'm really looking at game by game, but I don't think you're crazy at all for that pick either. Like I can see that happening. I wouldn't be surprised if Boston won at 6. I wouldn't be surprised if Boston won at 6. Um, if they win, it's gonna be at least 6, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Man, Marcus Smart is to me, he's got to be the most important player, right? He's got to, what it's going to be very interesting to see how Udoka, sets this kind of the defensive scheme, right? Because you can't just you can't even though Marcus Smart is a great defender, you can't just say, all right, go guard Steph. Like it's going to be more complex than that because the
Yeah,
amount of the Gold State, the amount of down screen, the amount of off ball screens they set, down screen, like all kinds of movement in that offense. It's got to be a collective effort
yeah, it's
to
gonna be
slow
different. It's
down
gonna be
Golden
different
State's offense.
than Brooklyn because it's still gonna be that star power and them guys that can run it off. But Brooklyn
Yeah,
was
but
more so
man, Brooklyn
ISO
became so
ball.
predictable, man. It just became
Yeah,
so ISO
it's
ball.
ISO ball and then KD elbow jumpers, mid range the whole game. With this shit, man, and uh Peyton two supposed to be back, so that's a high flyer right there. Wiggins, we haven't even talked about Andrew Wiggins at all. Like he still plays for Golden State. Like he is looking like ball is life, Andrew Wiggins. Like remember that ball is life mixtape? Everybody thought that he was the next Kobe and Jordan. Like that's who he playing like right now.
Yeah, but
And
Boston got somebody on the other side that has a similar frame, a similar game to him that's better. Jaylen Brown. Like that's the
this is
thing.
very
Like,
true. This is
that's
very true.
that's kind of where I'm getting at with this
Yeah,
price and why I like Boston because Golden State's run through the West. And while look again, this isn't trying to take anything away from them or be a hater or something like that, but they haven't exactly played real barn burner teams. I mean, teams that just cannot match up with them. Well, Boston can match up with them, and I just think like, man, I
yeah. I agree with you with saying too that the Suns is probably that best matchup for the Warriors. That wasn't going to be a team for the East because I like the way I thought Miami was going to be a good matchup for them too.
Miami just
just
can't
because.
score. I mean,
Yeah, but they can
Boston
stop
had
you
to
from
play
scoring too, though. And
right.
that's the thing. Like when they're on, like you don't hit 100 points against them, like no matter who you are. So, but I think Boston is right. Like when I saw Boston and what they did to Brooklyn, like they tore their ass off. Like you said, it's hard to sweep, especially a Kevin Durant team. Like it's hard to sweep, and they show the confidence that like they really here. Like they not pretenders no more. Like they really here to win a championship.
Mike, to
So,
me, as impressive as the sweep was, I was more impressed the fact that Boston down 3-2 went to Milwaukee, went to the
Milwaukee,
defending champs, and beat them, and then
yeah,
ran them in Game 7. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me, that is what sold me on Boston. I'm like, wow, like Tatum balled the fuck out that game. I mean, Jason Tatum, you know, that man is a superstar. Like get like accept it. He is.
yeah.
And to watch him really come into his own like he has, it's been it's been really fun to watch it. I mean, I might be ruffling some feathers here. That I don't know if this is going to be considered a hot take, but sorry, Jason Tatum's the best player left in the finals right now in 2022.
You
Jason
know
Tatum
what?
is the best player in
I'm
this
not
series.
gonna argue with you because after Brooklyn and after Brooklyn, the Sixers and the Nuggets went down. I was saying Luka was the best player left, and I
Agreed.
have been saying Luka, like because I'm rocking with Dallas now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
once they got to the Suns, I'm like they got the best player on the floor. I said that in the Jazz series, they're the best player on the floor. They played the Warriors, said they get the best player on the floor.
And
So
to your point, it's just what Dallas had was not enough. Having Luke was just not. It's not enough to beat Golden State. That's what I'm saying. Like Tatum is going to have to
like
obviously
you said,
ball,
they
and you're going to need.
overachieved, like you said, but Boston is there now. Like they have pieces. Like they don't just have like Brunson played his ass off, and me and you, we've been talking about that dude. So, I ain't telling you about him. But like he played his ass off like his peak. And it's like if that happens with Boston, they number two guy, which really Brown is really a 1A. Let's just be honest. And we've seen Brown put up 40-point games like ain't shit, and the players that play very well. And if they playing that those two play that well, and he still got a bunch of other guys who have peaks that are nowhere near Dorian Finney-Smith or Reggie Bullock. You know what I mean? Like you got fucking Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Grant Williams, Robert Williams, which man,
We're going to need him. Like he's been banged up. Like you're going to need a guy like that
that
to do
dude
dirty
is
work.
weird.
To do
I
dirty
love
work.
it.
You know
This
what
has
I'm
been his
saying?
coming out party. I've been a fan of him since college. I'm glad that, like you said, it's just been the injuries. Like they putting him on the damn floor and they getting results, and that's gonna be a big deal. He gonna be in Draymond Green way. He gonna be in his way.
You
He's
know,
gonna have to be out.
and I was thinking too, and it's like if you watch some of these, especially against Milwaukee, um, Boston had lesser guys step up and do something. They're going to need that again. They're going to need a guy like Derek White or Grant Williams hit
Derek
open
White.
shots, hit open threes.
They're gonna
And
need a
Grant
Derek
Williams has shown like he can be that guy. Like he's not a star, obviously, he's a role player, but like they're going to need somebody like that to continue like producing. Like even go back like a guy like you go back to the bubble, right? The LA Miami final. Everybody wants to talk about LeBron AD. Fine. I get it. But remember, like, nobody talks about like KCP. He balled out in that series. Go back and watch that. He was hitting open threes. He was scoring in transition. Like you need a guy like that in these games because you can't just, each team is going to do the best they can to take away the star, right? Golden State's a smart team. I'm sure all week they've been planning on making Jason Tatum as uncomfortable as possible. Okay, well, if doubles come, you're going to need to kick it to a guy like Grant Williams. You know what I'm saying? Derek White, somebody like that on both teams, I think, has got to kind of step up, and like that was to your Jordan Poole thing. Well, I don't disagree with you. Like I think Boston is built to defend on the perimeter. I mean, they're going to be it's going to be hard for a guy like Poole to go off like he did against some of these other teams. That's just kind of what I think. I don't know, man. I'm drinking the Celtics Kool-Aid, and it's dirty, right? It's fucking dirty. Like if they win this series, then like I'll cash my bet, and they're like, and then I gotta see all these fucking barstool dipshits celebrating and whatnot. And
Mhm.
it's like I don't know. I mean, I'm at the very minimum hoping for a very long competitive series, right? Like I'd be surprised if this either way is a 5 or less game series. Like I think this is definitely 6. We could be getting a 7. I don't know. My official prediction is Boston in 6. I think they'll close them out at home.
I ain't mad at that. I feel like if Boston beat them, they're gonna take care of them in like 6 games. But I think it's going 7. And if I had to put my money up, man, I'll put it Golden State at 7, and probably Steph Curry to get that MVP finally, that elusive MVP. So we'll see. I got another prop that I like. Speaking of Golden State, so Steph Curry to record 3 threes made in all series games at plus 300. Now I did some digging. He made at least 3 threes each game against Denver. I think he had like one or 2 games where he didn't against the Grizzlies, but I think those are blowouts either way. So he didn't attempt as many. And then same thing against Dallas. It was one game he like didn't attempt like as many. It was a blowout. I think this is the same bet because I feel like Steph's gonna be chucking. He probably gonna hit 3 threes the first quarter of game 1. To set that tone. Like he's just that damn good to where I like this a lot. So I feel like this would probably be my biggest prop that I'm gonna play. Price could be better, but I think the fact that they just giving us this, I think this. I hate to say it, but I think this is free money right here.
Look, I
So
certainly don't want to be the guy betting against Steph Curry, making threes, right? Like it's that's the thing with props, right? You're following one single guy, and you're following, every time Steph touches the ball on the perimeter, you're going to be rooting for him to make a shot, hit a three. I don't want to be the guy betting the no on that. So yeah, okay. Is this like where'd you say this was?
this is on FanDuel right now.
Okay. And they're okay. So this is something like these books will post just for like finals and stuff like that, Super Bowls, finals, stuff like that. So
It's one of them. It's
yeah,
one
have
of them
some fun with it.
specials.
Like that's the point of props, right? I mean, especially something like this, you want to have some fun with it. Give yourself a little more rooting interest.
Yes, sir. So that's something that y'all, what I'm saying. Just remember me, what I'm saying, when y'all, going to the cashier, what I'm saying, going to the ticket window, aka your cell phone, and hitting the withdraw button. Don't forget about your boy. Still waiting on our cash. Let's get hit by Quan. Shout out to Quan and Quantity Media, Quality Sports, by the way.
He's doing big things over there. We're ready to join in.
Doing big things over there, man. Driving Audis and all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So living that California life, wearing shades and shit. Um, so yeah, that's what I got. You got anything else for us today, Shayne?
Um, Somebody asked me earlier about Jason Tatum at uh plus 180, plus 175 or 180. We'll call it 180 to win MVP. And I told that person absolutely not. And they kind of looked, said, "What do you mean? You like Boston to win? Why wouldn't you like that?" Let me explain real fast. Okay, any player you're going to bet for MVP, you're going to expect that team is going to win, right? So you bet Jordan Poole, you're expecting Golden State. I bet Horford, I'm expecting Boston to win the series. To only bet and get a 40-cent difference between a team to win and a player to win MVP is a horrific price.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying I don't think Tatum. I think the most likely scenario if Boston wins is Tatum probably gets MVP. But from a value standpoint, if you can get Boston at plus 140 to win the series, there is no way I would bet Tatum at plus 180 and only getting a 40-cent difference on needing, not only that team to win, but the media to pick that guy to win MVP. That's just a bad price. You're so much. If you think Tatum's going to win MVP, bet Boston plus 140 for the series. Shop around right now for the best Boston price because that just does not make any. That's just a bad. That's a bad bet to bet one of the favorites. Like betting Curry at, even though I think very small chance if Golden State wins, Curry doesn't get MVP. Right now, he's like minus 115 to win MVP. That's a terrible bet. That's a terrible bet. If you like Golden State for the series, bet the series price.
Right.
Like that's just not enough of a difference as to where you should get involved in that because you're just getting ripped off by the books, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we talk about that like NFL a lot too. You know, it's usually going to be a quarterback, and it's the same thing. It's like, you know, what quarterback do you think your team is going to win? Bet that team. Yeah. So, and then even more so for an NBA series, where you have to be consistently good for a series to pretty much get that award. At least 4 games. I always feel like you got to be good 4 games if you're going to win MVP. You got to be good 4 games. You have to play 4 really good games. And they can take a 4-game sample size. And unless you got another guy on your team that played 5 good games, like you probably gonna win MVP.
Yeah, and like
That's how I look at it.
I remember during our Super Bowl show, I said I did not like Cooper Kupp to win Super Bowl MVP because of the price. And people don't understand, like, you know, even if it wins, that does not change. It's about the process, not the result.
Right.
It's about the process you put into this stuff. I did not like Cooper Kupp's price. I thought it was way too low for a non-quarterback to win MP. And guess what? I was wrong. That does not change my mind based on the price. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's if the Celtics win the series and Tatum wins MVP, my friend that asked me about it is going to chirp me, and it changes nothing. Like, it does not, you know, that it's about the process of, you know, what you're putting into it, into the thought process of what you're putting into the bet from a value standpoint, not the result of it. You cannot be a result based analyst in betting ever, or else you will go broke quickly. I promise you that. Do not, you know, you're going to have bets that win. That was a bad bet. You're going to have bets that lose. That was a great bet. That happens all the time in betting.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that can kind of go along with, because honestly, you're going to be pretty, besides like we talk about Draymond, for instance, Clay right now, Clay and Draymond are both plus 2,200 for Finals MVP. Jaylen Brown plus 1,100. I think Jaylen Brown at plus 1,100. I think that's pretty good because to me, if Tatum doesn't win, Jaylen Brown will win. That's how I look at that situation. Whereas if Steph doesn't win, you know, it's I mean, Clay is probably number 2, like most likely, but like, you know, I like my Jordan Poole pick too because I just watching him and how he's played consistently, like over a couple series, averaging like right around 18 to 20 points. And if he goes off, you know, and you're getting excellent value there, you know, but that's in hindsight, right? So that's like, I mean, it's like I wouldn't go with neither one of the top 2 guys, but then after that, it's like, you know, it's not necessarily dark throws, but it's just what's more really likely to happen. You know, Jaylen Brown at plus 1,100. I think you know, you can look at some props too if you think he's gonna do well, but I think it's worth, you know, some couch change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is why, like, my Horford bet, man, like,
Yeah, the Horford too.
I don't give it, like, it to me, like,
Horford go out, average a double and, you know,
who
Smart
knows?
plays better and scores more, so Tatum and Brown don't have to. And, you know, Williams goes out, so now, you know, Al rebounds go up, that kind of shit.
This is going to be a very interesting series, right? Like, it's tactically, I'm just really intrigued by it because, you know, what both teams are going to do defensively really is you know, the $1 million question.
Yeah.
And I'm just a believer. I'm a believer in Boston. I'm sold. I'm sold.
Well, tomorrow, June 2nd, is NBA Game 1. Live from San Fran. It's not the Oracle. I keep forgetting the name of what is it? What is it now? It's not the Oracle.
Right?
Chase Center. Yeah, Chase Center. Yeah.
But you know what? It's always it's the Oracle, right? We're gonna stick with the Oracle. Like the White Sox. No matter how many times they change their name, it's always Comiskey.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean that's what they did their thing in the Oracle. So that's why I was like, it's kind of hard to change that, but
yeah, the Lakers, it's Staples Center. It's not fucking Crypto Arena or some stupid shit. You know, it's Staples. Yeah. Like,
oh man. Well, appreciate hanging out with you, Shayne. getting
And
some money.
this is just the beginning. We're gonna be putting together a lot of content coming up shortly, sometime this month. We are going to have our very first NFL show breaking down futures for the season that we have both bet, and prices we still like, something we're looking for, and just kind of overall feelings of heading into the year.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, shout out to the crew, DJ, PJ, Schwab, of course, Quan, out Mike. This is my boy Shane. We out. Let's get this money, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.